95% of our daily actions are run by our subconscious mind. And until you understand how to rewrite the story and shift your beliefs, you're gonna keep working on autopilot, subconsciously repeating the old patterns that are holding you back. Now, if you're a creative that knows and has done the inner work, but there's still something holding you back, there's something that's causing you to play small or procrastinate or create the reality you don't want to experience, then this video is for you. It's your girl Pearl. If you're new here, my name is Pearl and I am a somatic wellness coach for creatives, entrepreneurs, and women that are here to expand their reach, to do more impact, and to share more of their gifts. And I help you do the inner work, the real deep inner work with somatics, with neuroscience, to help you overcome your fears, recreate a new story, and step into more of your power. I've been doing this work for years. I've studied dietetics in the past, and I'm just so passionate about helping women just like you overcome the inner work and create massive shifts on a deep level to rewire their story, to create a new version of them, and then take over the world. So here's what I want you to do. This is going to be a very powerful video, so make sure you're taking notes, make sure you're paying attention, because I'm going to be sharing 3 of my top tips to help you shift your reality, to rewire your stories and create new evidence and new beliefs with my framework that I've worked on for years called a Live Body Blueprint. I'm only sharing about 3 parts of my framework and my beliefs, but I really believe that if you watch this and implement it, it will change your life. So let's dive right in. The first one is about liberating yourself from the old story. And this is where we do the inner somatic work, because as you know, the body holds on to everything. Body keeps the score. So everything you've ever experienced in your life, all the experiences from childhood and your mom and your dad and what they said and the environment and at school when something happened, all these things our body remembers. And this is where all the stories get created. And we also get this reinforced through evidence, through us repeating the same stories, right? We just, from a young age, from the ages 0 to 7, we don't really have a prefrontal cortex. So everything that lands literally sticks. And it could be anything. And what we see also sticks, right? Because when we're younger, we learn from visual. We learn from our mirror neurons, looking at what's happening in our environment. Then we mirror that within ourselves, right? So depending on what environment you were in, you maybe have some stories that need to be shed. And so what we do here, we need to liberate yourself from the old story. Now, this comes down to doing the deeper inner work and understanding, okay, well, where in my body is this story being held? What does this show up at? What emotions or stories or feelings are coming up as I take action on this thing? And where in my body is that, and how can I let this go? Where can I move through it, breathe through it? And this is where I guide you through really deep work with the body to understand what your body is trying to communicate with you, understand the feelings, the emotions, the sensations that are coming up, and helping your body actually express it. Because the nervous system is designed to express and complete the energetic cycles or complete the stress cycles through movement. Okay, something that's been ingrained in our body, but we often override this with our brain because we're the only mammals that have a nervous system that override it with our brain because we're so smart. But that's not always good, because sometimes we actually inhibit the natural process that our body's meant to do through overthinking, through interrupting it, through making up a story, through trying to avoid feeling the feelings, and we don't let our bodies actually complete the natural cycle of how we're meant to process the emotion. So the work we're doing with the liberating your story from the body is we're letting our body, our nervous system complete the cycle, release the emotion, express what it needs to in order for us to let go of that story, to create space, and then step into the next part. And so when it comes to number 1, I really encourage you to have some sort of somatic practice. Now, I'm currently doing a 31-day challenge for May that walks you through my exact practice that I do, and I'm helping other women in this challenge to create their own practices that work with their own unique nervous system to support you to liberating your story, creating a new one, and finding what works for you to create that space and to create that practice with the body to release and to express and to let go. So if you want to join that, it's in the link below. I'd love to have you. But either way, find yourself a somatic practice. And somatic just means being in the body. It means connecting to your body, the sensations, the emotions, the stories that are present, whatever's coming up, and understanding how to interpret that and what your body needs in order for you to move through, heal, complete the cycles, etc. Okay, so this can look very different for everyone, but the first step that I always tell people is to just connect to their body, take some deep breaths, connect to your body, really see what's happening within, and then start to tune in, start to create space. I did this morning, and this is how powerful it can be once you actually learn how to create safety with dropping into your body, feeling your feelings. Also something that's very, very highly recommended. And it takes practice, okay? Not everyone's automatically really good at this, because honestly, when I was younger, I learned to not listen to my feelings. I learned to not feel. I learned to not express my feelings. So as I was an adult, I had to learn and understand that feelings actually okay. I don't have to run from my feelings. That I have the capacity to hold and feel my feelings. And I had to retrain myself, reparent myself to be okay in sharing my voice and sharing my thoughts and sharing my feelings and being open and vulnerable and knowing that, oh, if I share my feelings, things are gonna be okay. Like nothing bad's gonna happen. And I have a whole history, and I had to rewrite that story for myself, right? So some of you might have similar upbringings or similar experience with sharing things, and we have to understand that actually learning to tap into our emotions, tap into our body, feel our feelings, and share what's coming up for us, even if it's just sharing it to ourselves, right? Sharing it out loud and holding space for ourselves, that is so freaking powerful. So this morning I did that, and it only took me a few minutes, and this is what I want you to understand. This does not take long, it does not have to take a long time, but you do need to do it frequently to get the reps in and to retrain your body to create a new neural pathway, okay? It honestly, the research says that actually the cycle of emotions takes 90 to 120 seconds. So 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, that's how much our body physiologically needs to complete the emotional cycle. But it's when we get in our heads and we start overthinking, we create stories, and we start to say, oh, this means that they don't like me, and oh my gosh, this means that people are gonna judge me, and oh my gosh, I can't believe, when we start talking and creating meaning and attaching meaning to the feelings and emotions that are coming up, that's when we actually stop the cycle. And that's when we make it this whole bigger thing that can last for weeks or months or even become a more ingrained story in our bodies, right? So once we learn how to stop doing that and let the body just do the thing it needs to, which takes practice, your life will change. So I did this morning. Right now I'm navigating, getting my body on board to launch my new program. And in this process, I felt a lot of contraction here in my chest. And I have an old story from my past experiences that launching is hard, that my business is hard, that it's gonna take a lot of effort and no one's gonna join, because that's happened in the past. I have evidence, and I have a story that I'm gonna have to work my ass off and burn out and grind and get sick and not do anything fun and not see my friends in order to launch this business, to launch our new program, because that's what I did in the past. And all these things from the past were still coming up for me, because that's what happens. Your body extracts and creates evidence from past experiences. So what I did is I just addressed that. I literally just said to myself, I was like, okay, I noticed that right now in my chest, I'm feeling this heaviness, this contraction. And what's coming up for me is the memories from the past that I experienced XYZ when I did my last launches and when I had my business in the past. And I actually, even just saying that allowed me to create a shift in the energy in my chest. And I felt lighter instantly. And I noticed that, okay, well, what can I do to release this, right? I let my body lead me. This is where you need to trust and surrender and drop into the body and let your body lead you to doing whatever it needs to do, okay? So that's number one. You gotta liberate yourself from the story by doing the inner body work and connecting to the parts of you that are still holding on to that story, and let the energy flow through you, okay? That's number one. Number two, once you've liberated the story and let it go, you need to now choose what story you want to create instead. So this is where we shift the narrative. Okay, so you liberate yourself from the story, and now we're gonna shift the narrative. What that means is you get to, every single time you hear this old story come up, we need to pattern interrupt. Pattern interruption is one of the most important things you can do when it comes to rewiring and repatterning your subconscious mind to create new neural pathways and a new story. This is about the rewiring process. It takes reps. If you think about how many years you've been repeating a new story over and over again, subconsciously your mind's been going over and over again the same old story, you need to literally rewire a new story that many times, if not more. Okay, and I'm gonna share a tip to how you can make this way more powerful in the next step. But here's the thing, you need to create a new narrative. So every time you have a thought comes up, and this is what I call thought inspection. I did a free experience last month where I explained this in detail, and if you want to still join it and watch that video, you can. But I did what I call thought inspection, where you have a thought come up and you inspect it, because not all the thoughts are ours. Actually, 95% of our thoughts aren't ours, right? They're conditioned, they're taken from other people or whatever our experience was in when we were younger. So take the thought that comes up and expect it. Be like, oh, do I really want to listen to this thought? Oh, is that something that I actually align with? Is this actually even my thought? Is this mine, right? A lot of times not ours. So a thought comes up, you inspect it. And if it's not a thought that you want, or not a thought that aligns with you, you pattern interrupt it, you stop the thought, and you say, okay, what do I want to believe instead? And now you have a different opportunity to create a new thought. So for example, a thought comes up like, oh, no one's gonna join my program or no one's gonna buy from me, I take a pause. Is that actually true? That's from our past experience, okay? So we need to realize we get to create a new story and say, actually, no, someone's gonna buy from me. I know what I have to offer, and you start to create a new story. You start to speak in a more empowering way, right? This is very powerful. So you wanna start to change the narrative. There's lots of ways you can start to change a narrative. Pattern interruption is one of them. You can do visualization in the morning, you can script, you can repeat affirmations, but you gotta make sure the affirmations are on board with your body. That's a whole other topic that I'll talk about probably another video, but you have to make sure the affirmations meet you where you're at and are supportive for your nervous system and don't cause any resistance or cognitive dissonance if you do any affirmations. So then, or you can do, what else can you do? Yeah, writing in your journal, scripting affirmations or affirmations. You can visualize, you can speak out loud, things like that to start to rewrite the story. But one of the most important things I'll emphasize is that in the moment, when that thought comes up in the moment, the more you can pattern interrupt in that moment is the more you can break the cycle and start to create a new cycle and a new pathway that you can then start to make stronger from just repeating that same energy and that same story, okay? That's number 2. Now, the third piece, this is probably one of the most important pieces that I'll share with you. It's about creating new evidence, but not just any evidence. It's by creating new emotional evidence and new touch points that your brain can extract from, instead of extracting from the past experiences that have caused you to feel these ways about whatever you're navigating. It's now, okay, how can I create a new experience bank? How can I create new evidence and a new supportive foundation that my body can now extract new evidence from to support where I'm going? So this is where we get to create new evidence, and not just any evidence, it's emotional evidence. So it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be getting lots of clients, or oh yeah, like this is happening, but it's about creating the feeling within our body that tells our body that, okay, this is actually a positive thing. This is where I get to feel how I desire to feel. This is actually a different experience than my past experience. And this is where we also create new associations within the body. Now, this has to happen on an emotional level because our subconscious mind communicates through emotions, through visuals, through stories, through metaphors, things like that. But the emotional piece is so important. And this is where we bring back the somatic piece from the first part. But since we've let go of the old story, we now get to create a new energy. So what I always ask my clients is, okay, what do you want to feel instead? How do you want to feel about this instead? And how can you create that feeling right now? In this moment right now, how can you create that feeling? Because one of the biggest things that drives our human psyche is emotions. We're very emotional beings. We're either always running away from pain or moving towards pleasure. Most of the time, that's what drives us on a core level. We can distill anything you're doing down to those two concepts. So how can we understand that and learn, okay, I want to feel more of this. I want to feel more excited and more liberated and more at ease around my launches. I want to not feel stressed about my launches. So how can I feel that right now? And you need to create experiences and pockets in your day to create the emotional evidence inside of you to have that happen. What's that look like? Well, many different things, but I always like to do a state shift. This is where we get into the physiology of things, right? Okay, how can I create a shift in my physiology so I can feel these elevated states of joy, of happiness, of ease, of flow, of play, whatever that is. So this is where I help my clients create pockets in the day, create habits, create rituals to have that why can't I say that word? To have the physiological shift in their body, okay? So what's that look like? It could look like a dance party. That's my go-to. Could look like you going out for a walk. Could like you drinking water, you doing some squats, doing some push-ups, like saying some positive things to yourself, eating some food, whatever you need to shift your state so you can create that emotional shift. Another thing that really works for this is doing some visualization. And visualizing with such detail where it creates an emotional response within you, visualizing what you want to create. So visualizing you having the business of your dreams and you getting the clients and it feeling easy and it feeling joyful and really creating that imprint in your body, because your subconscious mind doesn't know a difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if you take the time to even just a little bit every day to think about and sit with what you're creating and create the shift in your body now has that data, that evidence that, oh, I've done this and this feels really good. Even if you haven't done it yet, your body doesn't know. We're gonna trick ourselves. Okay, we're gonna brainwash ourselves. We're gonna trick ourselves. We're gonna make it work for us because that's what we need to do. You have to understand how the brain works, then use that to our advantage to then shift our reality. So we're going to then create these experiences, not just shifting our state, but also creating the emotional experience in the body to have our subconscious mind, our nervous system be on board with, oh, this actually feels good. Oh, this is actually fun. Oh, I don't have to feel this way about it, right? So these are the 3 ways that you can start to rewire your story right now and create new patterns within the body. So I'm going to recap because that was a lot, but if you're someone that wants to start to create a new story, new association, and shift your reality, you're going to want to do these 3 things. The first one is liberate yourself from the story. So doing the inner somatic work to release the energy and release the old patterns, old stories from the body so you can make space to implant new ones. Second thing you're going to do is shift the narrative. So every time you see old stories come up, old patterns, the versions of you that's holding you back and still trying to keep you small, you're going to pattern interrupt that and choose to speak differently, to choose to think differently, and choose to be very mindful what thoughts you allow to run the show. Okay, this is also tying into identity work. I didn't talk much about that in the video, but you're going to want to also do some identity work around you creating a new narrative and a new story, because the brain does not do anything that's not aligned with who you believe you are. I'll repeat that. The brain does not do anything that's not aligned with who you believe you are. So if you believe you are a certain type of person, your brain will always look for evidence to support the person that you believe you are. So you must change your identity in order for your brain to start to look for different actions to support the person you're becoming, okay? And the third piece here is to create new emotional evidence. We need to create a new evidence bank because our body's always pulling from past experiences. So we must create new experiences for your body to pull from so you can then create positive experiences to support where you're going. You can do this through shifting your state, doing physiology, and also working with your emotions and creating and eliciting a powerful emotion within the body. If you do these 3 things every single day, you will see such a rapid transformation in how you're operating and what you're attracting and the things that you're doing and how you're shifting the story and in really creating a shift in your operating system, right? That's what we're doing. We're changing our operating system from operating off of our default subconscious old past stories that are holding us back, that we learned from other people that aren't even ours, and we're learning how to reprogram and create a new story and create a new operating system that supports where you want to go, getting our body on board and feeling really good about the things that we're doing and what we're creating in our life. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for you. I love talking about this stuff. If you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Comment below your biggest takeaways from this video and what you're going to do, if anything, from this video, what you're going to try to implement every single day. If you want to join me in the 31-day challenge we're doing for May, you can still join us. We still have so much time this month to really start to create the patterns and create your own somatic process and practice to help you liberate yourself, shift the narrative, and create new emotional evidence for yourself. That's going to be powerful. If you want to do this together, you get coaching from me, and it's going to be so good. And of course, I will see you in the next video. As always, I'm here to help you thrive and do the inner work to get your body on board, to live your absolute dream life that's in alignment with your soul's highest calling. And I cannot wait to see you next time. Thanks again. It's your girl Pearl, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.